for everyone who hasn't known me, I'm Asha, an Akashic Records reader, blogger, podcaster, and YouTuber. Okay, I'm a qualified Akashic Records practitioner with the Starlight Academy, Singapore. So let me turn up the volume a little. Okay, so this topic of physical healing, how to care for the physical body, is a topic that speaks to my heart, because for almost all my life, I have battled with chronic illnesses, autoimmune conditions, lifelong medication that I was prescribed with. So it is almost a miracle that I could even be here today to share with you my insights of how I managed to overcome these and some important insights that I hope could benefit everyone as well. And just to share on my own journey, so in 2005, I was first diagnosed with a type of autoimmune condition. It's known as ITP in short. So basically, it was a life-threatening low level of blood platelets. So my blood couldn't really clot, and I was warded in a public hospital for 2 weeks, had a very close brush with death, and by a stroke of really divine intervention, and maybe my soul's plan was not to die at that point in time, I had this healing that allowed me to, intervention that came in that allowed me to be discharged of hospital, but I was placed on steroids for a few months. And then in 2010, I was overseas on an exchange program, and then I had this deep vein thrombosis, which is basically a blood clot in my left calf muscle. And I was warded in hospital again. And the doctor said that it was a relapse of my autoimmune condition. So it changed to another name called APS, in short, antiphospholipid syndrome. So in very simple layman terms, initially my ITP, I was diagnosed that my body couldn't really clot. Okay. Then now, few years down the road, I was diagnosed with APS. Then it was my body overclotting. So then by the Western medicine perspective, I was prescribed warfarin. Warfarin is a type of blood thinner that make my blood 3 to 5 times thinner than normal person. And then it was a type of rat poison because it was used to poison rats by basically causing them to be unable to clot. So then what happened was that for 12 long years, from August 2010 to September 2022, I was taking daily warfarin. And there was so many issues with warfarin. The first is, of course, it's a toxin by itself. The second is that it makes my blood 3 to 5 times thinner than normal person. So it's very hard to engage in regular activities without feeling the fear from a simple cut or open wound. And then the third thing is that my body was slowly getting desensitized to warfarin. That means I realized I required higher and higher dosage, higher and higher dosage. It was really getting worse. And then to add on to all these problems, in August, in November 2016, I had a tumultuous period, commonly labeled as Dark Night of the Soul. Actually, honestly, I never even heard of this term until I was so in such a bad state that I Googled, and then I learned of this term. What happened was that because of certain triggers in my life, now that I come to think of it, I don't really know why the triggers were of such magnitude. But it was to me back then because it was so bad. My past emotional wounds and trauma all came back for healing. And then it was so hard to explain. Everything came flooding back. all my life I had suppressed everything conveniently and thought they were all gone, but I didn't know they just came back. You know, one trigger was all it takes for everything to come back like flood to me. And there was a long period of time I was almost crying myself to sleep every night. Sometimes for reasons I know, sometimes for past memories, sometimes I don't even know why I was crying. And that was coming from a person who could barely cry. I can go without crying for years because I never really liked crying. I see crying as a form of weakness, as a form of vulnerability. I simply hated that. So I suppressed even my tears. And then concurrently with this dark night of the soul, my body underwent this inflammatory pain everywhere. It was so bad. So for a few years, what happened was that there was no known cause for all my conditions, my inflammation pain. On the outside, I look like normal person. Nobody know what's going on. On the inside, it was pure torture. It was as if my body was on fire within. And sometimes I even thought to myself, that's when I realized it makes sense. Sometimes people say, I'm better off dead, because it was so much of a suffering within that I can't even put into words. So because I was so desperate to seek for a solution, that's when I kind of stumbled into various healing modalities or even various exercises. And back then, things that I found temporary respite for my inflammatory pain were yoga. I started with yoga, all forms of yoga, hatha yoga, yin yoga, hot yoga. And I went into sound healing using singing bowls, using gongs. I realized all these things gave me the temporary release from the pain for a few hours. It's really better than nothing because it was so much pain. And then my first step into a spiritual journey was energy healing, Reiki. So there are many types of energy healing. I stumbled into Reiki. And back then in my first class, I was having so much inflammation that I could not even walk properly because my joints were so inflamed. I couldn't sit properly as well. And then, as with all modalities, all healing methods, uh, commitment, daily commitment is key, because even with the best methods, the best cures, if we don't really commit to something for a sustained period of time, it's very hard to see results. So I was doing for a long period of time, at least 2 hours Reiki every day. And that was when my body underwent a deep detox. So what kind of detox? First, my taste buds changed. I used to love chicken, protein, because I was all into gym life, protein shakes, and then suddenly, uh, because of the Reiki attunement, because of so much energy healing I was doing, my mouth couldn't take the meat. I took it in, but my stomach churned for a few hours. So it churned and churned and churned, and then it felt like it wanted to force out the meat from the stomach up to my throat to puke it out. So it was so bad. I experienced it twice, and then that was when I realized, oh, maybe my body didn't want to eat meat. What am I doing? So I cut off meat, and that was when I would say my healing really began, because I started connecting back to my body and what it really needed. And then my healing really accelerated when I went into the world of Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records is an energetic realm that contains information about every soul since the beginning of time. And it is lovingly guarded by our team of Akashic masters and guides, divine beings of the fifth dimension and above, who are tasked with the primary role of taking care of our information. Okay. And so all this sound really mystical, honestly, back then to me. Like, what is this all about? Is this some hoo-ha, is there really truth in that? But because I was so desperate for a solution, I just tried everything, even if my logical mind was telling me otherwise. And then I realized that Akashic Records was when it established this such a deep, profound connection between me and my team of Akashic masters and guides. And then from then on, it was daily commitment and devotion to the practice and what they recommended me to. So whatever they recommended me to, I kept up with it. And then that was when I see sustained results. Yeah. So today I would like to share like a couple of insights. There are 3 key insights that I have for my own healing journey that I hope to share to so that everybody can benefit. Okay, the first important realization is that it's a very simple one, is that I realize for myself the body is an interconnected system. That means when we want to heal, we are not just focusing on the flesh and blood, the physical body, but because the body is also made up of the different energy bodies, the physical, the emotional, the mental, spiritual, and all other layers of our auric fields. So if we want accelerated healing, we need to be an all-rounder. We need to take care of all these energy bodies. Because the masters reminded me that when illnesses attack us, it is from the auric fields outside in. So that means whenever we have any medical condition, most of the time, our auric fields are so weak to allow the illness to penetrate through our energy bodies. There's the so moving into the mental, the emotional, and then attacking the physical body as the last resort, the last manifestation. And even in most psychologies these days, it is a recognized fact that physical illnesses, most of them, it stems from emotional trauma. Yeah. So an important work that I did for my own healing journey is learning to make peace with the past. This is something that can take years, but it is really a worthwhile effort. Starting from this lifetime, all the people who have hurt us, scolded us, abused us, betrayed us, things that left those unresolved triggers or those suppressed wounds within. Sometimes we are so suppressed that it is desensitized, like we can't even remember. But then how do we know that the wound is still there? When we take the time to sit in silence, recall the memory, and then feel into our body, feeling how our body feels in response to that certain people, that certain situation. Does it feel spacious, light, and at peace? Or is there somewhere this resentment coming back again? Or this need to air this grievance, it's like repeating. You might have seen, like, sometimes people are like, it's like uh you know 1,000 episode Korean drama or something of that effect. Is like, wow, every time you ask them how's that person, wow, how's your mother-in-law, wow, all this come flooding back with all the emotions. So that's obviously unresolved, and we really need to take the time to face this directly. Some methods are used, I write them down with the intention to release. And because I suppress them, I tend to forget them. So I write them down with the intention to help me air it out. And then I want to release it out. I don't want it stored somewhere in my body that is causing me so much suffering to the extent that I can't even realize. And healing is not just about saying, oh, I forgive you, the past is over, we shouldn't talk about the past. All these things don't work because the body will feel the way it wants to. And all this, as a result of all this accumulation, the medical conditions come. So we really have to be very precise in this work. And I realized also that as we start on this healing work, the healing work goes deeper and deeper. What does it mean? So for example, for myself, I started with all these present life issues, all this forgiveness practice, did it for years. So it decreased in intensity to the extent that now I'm at peace with those key persons that really hurt, betrayed, and abused me in the past, in this lifetime. And when I'm done to a certain extent, then past life memories will come up. Okay, that's when we will need to access the Akashic records to go even deeper. For example, we might have made vows, contracts, and agreements on lifetimes of suffering. It might sound a bit absurd here, but sometimes the higher soul wants us to go through suffering so that we can, especially in the physical body, so that we can experience accelerated growth as a soul. Yeah, because there's so much that we would have done through and as a result of this medical condition, which we wouldn't have bothered to if we are healthy and free. Yeah, so that's that. And the second important realization that I have is that, of course, the physical body is the primary vessel without which we can't really experience life on earth. But we are also the result of what we eat, we drink, we breathe, and we live. It has a direct correlation. And the problem with a lot of us is that we are like kind of disconnected from our mind and body. And that is something that is so ingrained in us that sometimes many of us end up overeating or eating the food that don't really heal, nourish, and repair us. It's like being in this consumerist society we are in, that we are given so much advertisements about, and also very heavily promoted diet that is very heavy in the taste buds, that is very high in salt, MSG, junk food, fast food. And then also in the environment we are living in these days, everything is fast, fast, and fast. So we end up having chickens that are injected with growth hormones that last time our ancestors, they don't need to. Then we end up with vegetables that have like pesticides, herbicides, whatever sprayed on them. But because we don't really know what went on with the vegetable, we end up consuming. So that's the reality we are living in. To know that this is happening and to make choices for ourselves. So to make choices for ourselves, what then do we want for ourselves? That's one. Okay. That means really observing our body, eating certain types of food, how it feels, and then making the right choices from there, slowly adjusting. And the second thing is to know that even if we are super cautious, our body is still taking on toxins. It's inevitable. We just end up, it's just the amount we are taking. So then that will bring me to that third realization, that the importance of detoxification. Okay. So so what I realized for myself is that, of course, I can do my best efforts to improve on my diet, but then toxins will still accumulate. So all these things will then accumulate over time. So what I realize is important to regenerate my body is first to rekindle that long lost connection between mind and body. So that's because of that disconnection that I had. I end up taking, like, for example, for my own case, chicken protein shakes for a long period of time, high protein diet, because I didn't know that was not good for my own body, that it might be a direct cause to my inflammation on top of the emotional issues. But because I was so desensitized, my mind was just all the advertisements of all other gym goers, what they say, so I just follow. I didn't really connect with my own body. So then for food, that's the important point. It's difficult because food is a comforting. Whenever we are stressed up, whenever we're happy, food is something that it brings us comfort. So it's very difficult to change habits of food, but it's a direct correlation to our health. So for me, I realize it's important to observe the food, how my body feels after consuming each type of food without judgment. It's really just to pay attention to, for example, after eating one egg, how it feels. After eating two eggs, how it feels. Then I realized, oh, after eating one egg, I feel satisfied. But after eating two eggs, it might be too much for me. Somehow, how do I feel? Do I feel light and energized after the meal, or do I feel bloatedness? I feel guilty. I feel heaviness, a density. So that discomfort and density will then be a warning sign. Maybe the food is not suitable. And it can also be a issue of portion control. Like, for example, I love chilies. Chili of a certain level is good for my body, but above a certain threshold, then it wreaks havoc in my body. So then, then we learn. It's important to learn to observe the body, just paying attention what we are eating, okay, and then how our body feels a few hours after the meal and also during the meal. And then for water, the water that we drink every day, okay, is very, very important to drink filtered, okay, and structured water. So what does it mean by that? Filtered means, you install a water filter that removes at least the harmful chlorine from the water, okay? And then the other one is that structured means energized water, because the water that we have in our reservoirs or elsewhere, they are dead water. So they don't give us, in energy terms, they don't give us that life, that vitality, that spring water will. So to be able to connect with the life qualities in the water, I would highly recommend getting crystal water bottles. A brand that I use is Vita Jewel, VITA Jewel. Okay, so that's basically using high quality borosilicate glass with crystal. Okay, and then you can place the water without direct contact with the crystal for 7 minutes, and then that water will then have that crystallized structure and life force for ourselves. It's very important, but of course I encourage you keep an open heart and mind, because what I tried for myself is that because my body was so weak and very sensitive, my body will go through a detox at first with this water. That's when I realized, hey, there's some healing effects. Yeah, because my body went through some diarrhea, and then after I got used to the crystal water, I felt more vitality, more energy drinking it. That's when I realized it works for me. So try it for yourself. And also our body is made up of 70 to 80% water. It's so important to give good quality water to our cells. For sleep also is very important. It's something that we often overlook. At least 6 to 8 hours sleep. And then also Master said that, and it's also scientifically proven that when we sleep, our organs take time to detox. So different organs take turns. So there are specific timings for these organs to take turns. So if we tend to take late night sleep, it's really bad for the health. And if we are already stricken with physical condition, no. I would highly recommend by 11 p.m. try your very, very best on most days to sleep, because for weak bodies, this is absolutely what we need. We cannot miss out on the detox period for our organs. Yeah. Okay. And then if we are someone who suffers from a lot of insomnia issues, we also need to spend time to work on that. Another important thing is to deal with stress. That's a key thing for my own journey, because some of you may know I'm actually a lawyer, now a legal counsel. Stress, of course, in many industries is part of life. We are stricken with so much deadlines, everybody's expectations, and we feel like sometimes we're carrying the world on our shoulders. And this has a direct correlation with our health, because that stress basically messes up our whole nervous system. And to be able to heal, our body needs to slow down and get into a state where it is not a fight or flight state. If we are in that fight or flight state, it's very difficult for the body cells to start healing. We have to be, in most of the time, to cultivate a body that is calmer, that is more peaceful, that is aligned within. And that is when throughout the day healing can still take place for us. That's when we really do accelerated healing for ourselves. And then for body circulation, it is one key thing as well. Because my health is so bad, exercise is a must, whatever form of exercise every day, because that really helps to improve their blood circulation, improves the lymphatic system, helps to discharge all the waste. So whatever exercise, up to you, stretching, movement, jogging, whatever that works. And in this life we are at, a lot of us lead very sedentary lifestyles, sitting in office chair all day long. So unlike our ancestors, it also brings about a host of other medical conditions relating to immobility. And masters often remind me that actually our mind, our body has a direct correlation with the mind, in the sense that if our body is very tired, sluggish, in pain, the mind will also be foggy, cluttered, and just very difficult to be very focused and aligned. So a healthy body leads to a healthy mind. Yeah, so it's therefore a worthwhile investment. And another important thing I realized is that for me, stretching is very important. Not just the exercising, but also the stretching, because the stretching is when we really, for example, for yin yoga or other long stretches, to give that time for that body to relax and for us to reconnect with the body. And if we don't have time, then I'll recommend regular massage, at least to replicate the same effects of the yin yoga, the stretching. Yeah. So I think the last important realization I want to share in this session is that the benefits of detoxification, resetting the mind and body through detoxification. That's one key thing on my own healing journey. That was really the last step that really freed me of my warfarin. So some of you may know, after September 2022, last year, masters told me I'm ready to stop warfarin. So I was already keeping up with all the points that I shared with you guys. And then what was the last major boost of confidence for me was I was regularly doing detoxes, and I knew my body was ready. I reset and reset and reset, and I felt into my body. My body was ready to take on this removal of this warfarin, and it will not end up clotting itself. So even though the doctor was like, no, you can never do that, you must take it for life. But because of all the work that I had already done for myself for years, that was the last boost of confidence. I did it, and until now, 1 year and counting, no issues with clotting. Okay, so detoxification. So what exactly I did? So I then I went with my own mentor from Starlight Academy. Okay, so she has some enzymes, but of course you have other methods you can do as well. So I was new to detox. In fact, I thought it was fad and nonsense, because I thought, like, some people, they want to lose weight, they do detox, but I don't need to lose weight, therefore I don't need to do detox. That kind of very self-limiting thoughts I used to have. But then I just tried, I just tried one day, and I never did detox all my life. I started with something called a liver and gallbladder detox. Don't know what it means. It just sounded so easy. I looked at the timetable, 3 days, 2 nights, whatever, like easy. Yeah, but when I did, I realized for myself. So what happened is that during the 3 days, 2 nights, usually detox, the key principle, whatever detox you do, key principle is you let your organs rest. So that means that usually we eat, we drink, but during detox period, it's a short period of time. It can't be prolonged because otherwise our body will have nutritional deficiency. That short period of time, we cut down on the food or no food, and then we try to allow the body the time, the organs to rest. So for me, that liver and gallbladder detox, the first one I did was really mind-blowingly life-changing, because I realized for my body it was in already a good state with all the work that I was doing, but I was still relying on warfarin. So that 3 day, 2 night, I cut down. I didn't take warfarin, and then I felt my stomach was churning so badly. It was trying to purge something out, and then the liver was in pain. It was like, it was not just imaginary pain, it was real pain. I was holding on so much things in the stomach and in the liver. I was in pain until I couldn't sit up properly. And then that was that during that period. And after that, after the detox, I felt like, because it was purging of a lot of waste that was accumulated in the body and even some gallstones. After that, I felt as if I was reborn, like a resetting of my whole body. After that, it was such I never experienced it in my life. Like it's that kind of feeling that you feel when you come back from a holiday. You know, when you work so hard, you give yourself 1 week leave, and then you come back from a holiday. It's like reborn body. It was so good because I felt vitality returning to my body. Since then I became a detox convert. So I did intestinal detox. I repeated the liver and gallbladder detox, and I realized for myself the detoxes get easier and easier when we kind of, it's difficult at first because it's decades of rubbish. Then it gets easier over time, and the body, importantly, feeling into my own body, I feel more vitality coming back to me, and that's so important for me, because inflammation, pain, the worst thing is lethargy, and that body being on fire all the time. Yeah, and I realized for myself, when we do detox, right, it's not just about the food. Other things that we also could benefit from detoxing will be the mind. The mind detox will mean things like, usually we don't really notice, like our phone, the messages, the contact list, the emails. You know, there are some colleagues that you might know of that have like 1,000 emails and counting. That's really not a good practice, because all these things energetically, they leave imprints in your brain. It's like hoarding space in yourself. When you are already a weak physical body to begin with, you don't want all this nonsense. It's like the body needs detox, the mind needs detox. So if we have a very cluttered brain, it's very hard to heal. We need to deal with all this. Find time, at least, you know, a few times a year, go and delete all the emails of the past that's not needed, the clean up the contact list, delete those photos that we take in excess, the videos, make everything like simple. And then at the home that we live in is even more essential, because it's where we live and breathe. We spend our sleeping moments in at home. It has to be really comfortable. If we are being, so the home has to be decluttered every now and then. That means, you know, throwing out clothes that we never wear for years and maybe forever, books that we know we will never read for the rest of our lifetime, just throwing things out. So that creates space. So when we have space at our home, we have space in our mind, we have space in our body, that's when we really can do a very important reset. Okay, so I've shared all I wanted to share in this session. And I think the key thing that I just want to leave you guys with is that wherever you are in your journey, you might be here because you have some medical conditions, you're battling some physical illnesses that you maybe are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel or not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel. But I just want to be here to share my story today, hopefully as an inspiration to you guys that it is really, really possible to heal. But of course, that daily commitment is needed. And the masters also want to set you guys thinking that sometimes, our soul choose these medical conditions, this battling all these chronic issues, because we want to guide ourselves to embark on or deepen this spiritual journey. Come to think of it, many of us would not have bothered with meditation, would not have bothered with all kinds of healing remedies, if not for that desperate need to find a solution, isn't it? So that might just be something that's at a higher level. It means so much for us in our soul's growth and evolution. Just taking time for yourself, giving yourself the space you need where you won't be disturbed for the duration of the session. Gently settling into your own space, taking a couple of deep breaths, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. As we breathe in, intend to breathe in the light of the Akashic Records all around us to nourish our cells, our body, bones, and blood. As we breathe out, intend to release all dense and discordant energies that we've taken on from others that we don't need. Breathing in light, breathing out density. I call upon the four great archangels, Archangel Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, to stand in four corners of everybody's spaces and the energetic space we're holding this meditation, to hold, ground, protect, and support the space. I call in everybody's angelic team, galactic team, guides, higher self, and all pure light beings who would like to support each of you in this healing session to step forth now. And I call in Lady Guanyin, Mother Mary, the Golden Dragons, and the Emerald Green Dragons to join us for this healing session. And as we gather as a group in a circle of light, gently breathe in and out through your nostrils, taking in the healing energies of the Akashic Records. And we allow Lady Guanyin and Mother Mary to stand close to each of us and infusing the peaceful white light into our energy bodies now, nourishing all cells, bones of our being. Allowing the white light to flow in and slow everything down. And as we breathe in light into various parts of our body, we release the density lodged in our body. Breathing in the white light into our head, releasing the density in our head. Breathing in light into both hemispheres of the brain. Breathing out density lodged in the brain. Breathing in light into our eyes. Breathing out density in our eyes. Breathing in light into our jaws and our face. Breathing out density in our face and jaws. Breathing in light into our neck. Breathing out density lodged in our neck. Breathing into our shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. Breathing out density and tension in these areas. Breathing in light into our heart. Breathing out density in our heart. Breathing in light into our stomach. Breathing out density in our stomach. Breathing in light into our spine. Breathing out density in our spine. Breathing in light into the upper, middle, lower back. Breathing out density in these areas. Breathing in light into our hips and buttocks. Breathing out tension and density in these areas. Breathing in light into our thighs and knee joints. Breathing out tension, pain, and density in our thighs and knee joints. Breathing in light into our calf muscles, ankles, and feet. Breathing out density and tension in our thighs, calf muscles, ankles, and feet. Breathing in the white light into all parts of our body. Breathing out the tension and density in all parts of our body. And next we call upon the golden dragons and the emerald green dragons from the deep core of the inner earth to rise up and surround each of us now. These golden dragons and emerald green dragons that contain the codes of original creation and remembrance of our divine self, our original template and blueprint. And as they rise up, we feel our feet chakras opening up 6 inches beneath the soles of our feet itself opening up. And as the dragons rise up, a portal of light opens up from the inner earth and to surround us in that portal of light. And now I see the golden and emerald green dragons surrounding us front and back as a group, each of us and collectively. And they gently send the healing energies to each of us, to all parts of our body, guiding our body cells to feel and remember the original template of self-healing. Breathe and receive. And we invite the dragons to do a clearing of our lower 3 chakras, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the base, facilitating a deeper purging of dense and discordant energies and frequencies not in alignment with the original template. Simply breathe and allow. And as the dragons go around the base, lower 3 chakras of our body counterclockwise, They also assist to remove any cords and hooks and imprints in these chakras, connecting us to people or situations that don't serve our highest good, that make us feel disempowered in any way. That take away our energies, our vitality. Inviting the golden and emerald green dragons to then send more light to the heart, the throat, and the third eye chakras as they do a cleansing and clearing of these chakras. Bringing us closer to the energies, the remembrance of the original template of the divine body and self. And as they sweep through the third eye, the throat, and the heart chakras, it helps us to slowly step into and recall our divine purpose and to execute them. Slowly forming that reconnection between mind and heart. Facilitating a gentle clearing of the spine as well, top to bottom of the spine, helping to dislodge any vows, contracts, agreements of past lifetimes and imprints of abuse, suffering that we might have agreed to take on or are unable to release for whatever reason. Facilitating a deep clearing in the spine for anything that affects our ability to heal ourselves. And they send more lights to the back of the brain as well, removing other people's opinions, thoughts, and expectations that might have infiltrated our minds that are not of our highest good. That might have kept us riddled in certain addictions or certain habits that don't serve our highest good. And the dragons continue to shower so much golden and emerald green light into our energy bodies, rekindling our connection to our own body and mind. Guiding our body to feel into the original pristine energies, the original template that our divine body was meant to be. And as we sit more with these energies, day by day, our body starts to remember all these original frequencies and may make certain choices to better align ourselves to good health. Take it slow and steady. And we invite the dragons to continue to send the activating energies to all parts of our body, each participant's bodies and energy fields, as aligned to our highest good, giving us what we need at this moment. And slowly the golden and emerald green dragons merge with us, their wings becoming our wings, their bodies sitting with us, just allowing us to feel as one with them in meditation. Helping us to remember our most divine self of empowerment, courage, and of divine service in this lifetime. You are never alone. We are always here with you. Call out to us when you need it, and we'll be right here next to you. And I feel each and all of us lighting up, beautiful golden light in our energy fields, emerald green light. And we thank the dragons for the experience. as they step out of our energy fields and surround us from afar. And next we call upon Lady Guanyin and Mother Mary to come join and be with us. And as these two beautiful goddesses come and be with us, sending in their divine white light, goddess energies to our energy fields, allowing us to feel peace, compassion, stillness with them. Slowing everything down. Know that it is safe for you to slow down and heal right here with us. Simply breathe and receive. And the goddess energies bring with them such gentleness and lightness, providing these fertile conditions for our body cells to heal, repair, and regenerate itself. Coupled with the right diet and lifestyle choices, this energy healing can accelerate your physical healing and guide you on the roadway and pathway to good health. And good health starts with a peaceful heart. As the goddesses place their hands on each of your hearts, sending you love and peace. And we thank the goddesses for the experience, thanking the golden and emerald green dragons, thanking our divine team for the kind assistance. Now visualizing roots growing out at the base of our spine or soles of our feet, releasing excess energies that our body doesn't need. Also taking the time to send our loving energies to bless Mother Earth, blessing all inhabitants of Mother Earth, to all people on Mother Earth, all animals or beings of Mother Earth, sending our energies to all the A lines and grid lines of Mother Earth, to all the forests, the waters, the air. And also sending blessings to ourselves and the group, not forgetting ourselves. And gently, we thank all of them, taking our energies back to the space where we started the meditation. Gently drawing our energies and consciousness fully back to our physical body. Anytime we feel ready, taking 3 deep breaths, slowly and mindfully, before we gently open our eyes.